You never know what you're going to find when you get out on Amazon and you start snooping around. If you're a knife lover like me, you probably spend a lot of time looking at knives on Amazon. I had an interesting find the other day. I decided to make the purchase and I want to share it with you in this video. Stay tuned. Hands down, I've got the coolest subscribers in the world. I'm not just saying that. I enjoy talking to all of you in the comments. I want to thank you for your support. This channel's been going now for a little over a year and you have helped make it what it is, and I greatly appreciate it. I also want to take a moment to welcome every new visitor here to 411 Outdoors. Your time is appreciated. I hope you find this content helpful and resourceful. Let's get going. If you've watched any of my knife reviews, you've already learned this about me. I have a Tanto knife obsession, and I have reviewed several of them thus far on my channel. On some, I spent a little bit. On others, I spent just a little bit more. One of the things I like to do the most with a good solid Tanto knife is throw it. I love throwing my GI Tanto from Cold Steel, and I have enjoyed throwing my Recon Tanto from Cold Steel. But there's a couple of things I've learned about the Recon Tanto that I'm not a big fan of. I was on Amazon the other day and I thought to myself, I'm just gonna go out here and look at some fixed blade Tanto knives that don't cost a lot, that I think I might enjoy throwing. And here's what I stumbled upon. Now, the brand name is Generi's brand, if you look at it in Amazon, but when I ordered this, it's got, I don't know how to pronounce this, H-U-A-A-O. This is the box that it came in. Now, this knife right here was originally about 38 bucks, which is pretty comparable to like a Recon Tanto, a little bit more than a GI Tanto, but it was marked down to like $23. And after looking at it, I had to get it. Let's take a look at this thing. So here's the sheath. You know, some may like this, some may hate this. I kind of dig it. If I'm just walking around with this on my side and using it, assessing it, I kind of like this. You know, from time to time, I'm in the mood for a sheath like this. I think it looks kind of good. And let's take a look at the Tanto. This is a pretty solid beast of a budget knife. Look at that. Full tank construction all the way through, ebony handle. Feels really good in the hand. This is a 7-inch blade, and it's very comparable in size to the Recon Tanto. It's almost the exact same length. I think the Recon is maybe just a hair longer. I don't know. They look around about the same. The blade thickness, slightly thinner than the Recon Tanto. But there's one thing this knife has that the Recon Tanto does not, and that is the full tank construction all the way through. I want to share something with you about this Recon Tanto. I've always said, if you want to test the durability of anything, if you want to know how solid something really is, just throw it. You can stab something, you can beat a knife against something, and you can really hit it hard against things. But that's still not going to test that knife as much as throwing it and missing. When I first got the Recon Tanto, I was thinking that the blade was a little wider in the handle. I knew that it had to be smaller to get the handle around it, but I was thinking that there was more steel. When I took the handle off of the first one that I bought, I found out that the steel makes up a very small part of this handle, and it's only being held on by this little brass ring. So, and also too, as I have thrown this, it gets loose. Now, I don't think this handle will come off. I think as long as I leave the brass thing alone, it'll stay on. But I mean, you can see, you know, what has happened, you know, after all the throwing. Again, it didn't take long for this handle to loosen up, you know, when you get out and throw it. I went through that tidbit on the Recon Tanto because I feel like that this is a budget comparison because of the size and because of the substance of this blade. At face value, I'm kind of liking this actually a little bit better. I think it's got a cool look to it. Now, the steel is a 7CR13 MOV, from what I gather, a decent balance of hardness and corrosion resistance and decent edge retention as well. Another thing that I like about this better than the Recon Tanto is handle maintenance and replacement if I want to. Handle replacement is not easy with the Recon Tanto, especially once you see what's underneath this handle. Some may like the SK5 steel better, but for what I do, it's not going to make much of a difference. Let's do a little sharpness test here, a little paper cutting. Good for a little bottle killing there. This definitely feels like it's got a razor edge coming right out of the box, so that's a good thing as well. You can use a knife like this for anything, but you know, Tanto knives like this are combat knives. They have that combat appeal to them. That's what they're designed for, but you know, you can use it for anything. And what's nice about a knife like this is you're never going to be afraid to beat something like this up. That's my only problem with expensive knives, and everybody's different. I just know that a lot of people don't like to really get out and beat up their expensive knives. With that being said, there is most definitely a time and a place to get you a good knife, especially if you need something that's going to stand the test of time and be able to get the job done. I know a lot of people typically don't carry a blade this big out in public for self-defense, but in my state, if I wanted to open carry this, I could. I was having a good conversation with a guy the other day on self-defense knives. You know, you can spend a lot and get a really cool self-defense knives. There's some knife makers out there making some stuff that I would love to get my hands on when I get the extra cash. But, you know, there's a lot of knife companies out there like Cancu that has D2 steel, where you can go and get a very good self-defensive knife at a very inexpensive price, because you're never planning on use it. You never hope to use it. And if you had to in self-defense, it would get the job done. And if you want to carry a gargantuous blade for self-defense and you know it's legal where you live, this is most definitely equipped to do whatever you need it to do. The weight of this item is not accurately listed. It says item weight 1.08 pounds. I don't believe that's the case. This feels very similar in weight to the Recon Tanto, maybe just a hair lighter, but not much. This is, you know, 9 ounces, and this feels very close to the same weight as this blade, so it does got a good weight. The blade may be thinner than the Recon Tanto, but the width is consistent all the way through the tang. That's not the case with the Recon Tanto. This knife is going to be good for the individual who is looking for a solid full tang Tanto knife with some size that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. In fact, not long ago, I reviewed a budget-friendly Tanto knife on Amazon by Grandway Knives. That's the same price as this, but it does not even compare to this one. Guys like me are looking for a knife like this because I like to throw heavy combat Tanto knives, and I think it's pretty cool that I can get something like this for 23 bucks and throw it well, which I'm getting ready to do right now. I think that has an awesome weighted feel in the hand. And you know what, if you get out and start throwing this thing and you bust the handle off of it, which you probably will do, it's not that hard to put something on here that would work. If anything, you could throw this just with the blade itself. The sheath on this works pretty well for me, especially with my knife throwing. If I just want to have, you know, something sheath, I can pull this out pretty easy and transition into a throw. I'm going to do that with an underhand throw. Really pumped to get on Amazon and spend 23 bucks for a big, bulky, hard-hitting Tanto knife that I don't mind throwing around and beating up. I think that's a pretty good deal. If you want to get this, I'll provide the link. It may be hard to search. Like I said, I think this is a brand new release. I think it's only had 4 or 5 reviews. Nobody's even done a written review on it yet. So I think it's a new product. I'll drop the link from the order that I made in case you want to go out and get it. I don't know how long they'll sell this for 23 bucks. It's originally $38. Like I said, close in price to the Recon, the Cold Steel Coban and all of that. But hard hitting little blade, sharp, and I think it will go a long way. Take care.